After grade 8, the students from Lejac, boys and girls, they were transferred to PG College. And like I said, they had the same problems as we had. And all these students, both First Nation, boys and girls, and the whites, they got along quite good. The residential school syndrome popped up. They weren't used to the freedom. From a strict regime school to PG College, wide open. Freedom. Girls. And when you have that much freedom, things go wrong. They had to have alcohol. When you mix alcohol into the equation, things go wrong. And they got caught and expelled. I could count on my hand the number of students who put everything behind and succeeded in going to university. The older boys and the men, they went to work across the river in the sawmill. And they only worked so long, and then they realized, oh, we can buy some alcohol. But then I met my, uncle, Clifford Quaw. I was drinking with him one weekend, and he was telling us about a long time ago how they drank. You know, it didn't, not like we did. They drank to have fun. We resorted to alcohol addictions. We drank to forget. We couldn't forget it. Next morning, you wake up, still there. And my sister Angeline, she went to grade 12, and she got married, moved to Alberta, became a drug and alcohol counselor. That's kind of shocking, you know. And I'm the only one that didn't do nothing. Actually, just became a drunkard or alcoholic. And I told Angie, how come you didn't give me any drug and alcohol counseling? I said, Clibo will show you the right road to sobriety. We'll help you along. But other than that, it's totally up to you. Totally up to you to quit drinking and start a new life. I did. Didn't last long. I think it lasted about 5 years, maybe longer. Steady job, hard worker, good pay, and everything, you know. Then in 1 year, everything went boom. The Lejac syndrome, the Lejac Residential School syndrome, put its head up. I was down on my knees again. And I did that for what, over 20 years to overcome that. And once I did, I actually graduated from a recognized learning institute, Vancouver Community College. 2009, June 11th, graduation day ceremonies, but June the 10th was my birthday. And it's celebrated by a belated birthday present to myself, a diploma. Oh, I was so proud. And after I graduated, I thought, what am I going to teach? Forestry or something else? Go back to university. I almost did. And I should have, could have, but then that residential school thing came up again. Gee whiz, can't it leave me alone? Fell in my lap and I looked at it. Why not? That thing fell in my lap for a reason. Residential schools, look what I'm doing now. Giving history lessons on the residential schools. That was 2009, 10, and I haven't stopped. And you know what? I enjoy it. Well, to me, just a lot of times I'm thinking, can't them people listen? Are they listening to me? When I'm teaching about residential schools and my experiences, are they truly listening? I often thought about that. A lot of times I wanted to give up. I had enough of this teaching. I want to do something else. Comes right back to me again. And I say again, oh, why not? I've been doing it ever since. Our parents, they didn't get no education. They were trying to train our ancestors into farmers. Our First Nations people, especially Lheidli, were hunters and gatherers. It was hard for them to accept farming. They bought all the equipment at home. They just parked it in the field and it just rusted away. The first generation, they had it really, really rough. Trying to teach these people how to farm, and they're hunters and gatherers. And they only had about 1 hour of school or class time. The rest of the time they're out in the fields. And taking care of pigs, chickens, cows. And they had a big vegetable garden beside Lejac, and they took care of that. And my dad had gotten to that I think he built it, to tell you the truth, 1919. They had all these carpenters' helpers building that big school, 3-story high building. Then they turned around and went to the school. But they had it rough, really rough in those years, first years when they opened the school in 1922. They were teaching them how to farm, how to grow crops, take care of animals. And they were just using our people as slave labor. And gradually, as the years went by, 40s, 50s, 60s, they moved from doing slave labor to educate these Indians. It didn't work out. They tried, but they didn't succeed. When we were of age to go to Lejac, our community was a community. Everybody helped one another. After they came back, they somehow lost their will, or their spirit was broken. Somehow lost their will to do anything. Go back trapping, hunting, back to the traditional ways. Never happened. And all their traditional knowledge was never passed down. Lost their spirit, or their spirit is broken because of attending a residential school. Because I can remember my dad always talking to me in Dakhel, carrier language. And I'd understand most of it, but I never did actually learn how to speak. Most of the students went to Lejac, say from Fort St. James. They were still fluent in their language, Nakazli dialect, or Dakhel language, and they went to Lejac and they're still fluent. And out of earshot of the priests and brothers, whoever, they'd revert back to the Dakhel language. Went back to school and they went back to English. So they're always going back and forth until Brother Kearns caught them, heard them. Said, "What are you talking?" And they had to tell the truth. So they're talking their own language. Come here. So go in the boys' hall. You too. Brought them in there and out come the strap. Bang, bang. 10 on each hand. And he warned them, so next time I catch you talking your filthy language, said I'm going to make you eat soap. then I'm going to give you the strap. And right after that, all we heard was English. Did you have that strap I sent you? Except, like I said, it's a little smaller and not that long, flexible. Whereas in St. Mary's, they very seldom, they didn't have that type of strap. They used a ruler, yardstick. It didn't hurt. We just laugh at that. And then one sister, she had a questioning look in her face. After she gave us the strap, we smiled at her. What are you smiling about? Then she thought about it, sat us down. And, okay, Clifford, why are you smiling? I told him in Lejac, whenever we got the strap, it was something that you can't forget because it hurt so damn much. And it was unmanly to cry or shout or anything. We just stood there and took it. So what do you mean? I told him the strap was that long, that wide, that thick, made out of conveyor belt material. And I told her that we get a strap from Brother Kearns or Brother Callanan or Father Kelly. And I told her, you have to remember that these men were grown men. And they didn't hold back nothing. They just way back here and you're standing there and you come right around and connect. That's all I heard. Catching up to here. Another one. 5 on each hand. And and you're gritting your teeth. You're telling yourself, you're not going to cry. You're not going to do nothing. Just take it. And boy, did that ever hurt. But after they finished, we just smile at them. Yeah. And walk away. I call them love taps compared to the one we compared to the straps in Lejac. Oh, you can give us love taps, eh? Yep. Don't do that again. Yes, sister. And that's how, fear factor. Scared of Jesus. Don't speak that language. Your people are evil. You worship totem poles. All that, this drummed it out of our head. Then they replaced it with religion. Roman Catholic religion. Like I said before, I didn't understand it. Now on our reserve, there's only 1 or 2, 3 or 4 people that actually speak fluent Dakel. That's all that's left. Because we're running out of elders who have passed away, and they were fluent in Dakel language, Indian language. From grade 1 to grade 8, you had catechism. And they teach you about the Holy Ghost, and another one is sins. All the sins that this is a sin, that's a sin. Finally got to a point where you had so much religion and you're thinking, everything I do is a sin. I said, Jesus Christ, I took the Lord's name in vain. That's a sin, venial sin. I said something else, mortal sin. You're going to go roast in hell. It's just sin, sin, sin. And then one brother Callanan brought us up to grade 2, all the big boys, for sex education class. What? You're kidding me. Brought all the big boys up there and he sat us down and we're expecting, listen. He told us how that masturbation was a mortal sin. You spill your seed, It's a mortal sin. In other words, sex was very dirty, right? Dirty, dirty, dirty. A sin. That was ingrained into our head. Ashamed is what I've done. And to me, you go through the motions. Take a woman to bed, and after you're finished, I'm gone. See, there's a big difference. A woman, go to bed with her, they want your part, or all of you, they show emotion. I didn't. To me, I hate to use the word, but I just use them women. Because I did not want the emotional attachment. Because after I left them, and women, oh boy, they were mad. And now they want the attachment. They want me to go home. Set up a life with them. And I thought, maybe someday. But after 2008, I began to realize what love meant. They wanted to be loved, cuddled. I had a lot of girlfriends after I left 1964. But then they're just there 1 or 2 weeks and I'd move on. Because I didn't want the emotional attachment. And then I also worked at a sawmill. Then 1972, May the 20th, I got married. Of course, we had a child by then. We got married, Catholic Church. And there was always something missing inside of me. Couldn't fathom what it was. Then I realized later, oh, it's the love. You need the love and trust of a person. She wants to trust you. You have to, and in other words, you have to trust her. Love and trust didn't exist. And my parenting skills were none. And a lot of times I looked at a couple and I said to myself, geez, I wish it was like that. And I thought to myself, it'll never happen. And that's where all this, toxic shame. You were powerless, hopelessness. And toxic shame is a conviction that you are fundamentally flawed, bad, inferior, inadequate, deficient, worthless, or unlovable. It is a very painful belief which underlies many cases of depression, anxiety, marital problems, family problems, and addictions. Toxic shame differs from guilt. Guilt is about your behavior. You feel guilty about something you have done. Shame is deeper and more pervasive. It is about your being. Like in part one, I was always ashamed of being who I was. That's what they taught us in Lejac. Well, not taught us, but it's sort of underlying treatment they gave you. They said you were worthless. In other words, they brainwashed us, stating that we are worthless Indians, not worth their time to educate and assimilate, but we're going to do our best. Shame is deeper and more pervasive. It is about your being. You feel badly about yourself. I did. You're not born with toxic shame. It is a learned attitude which passes from generation to generation. You acquired it from Lejac Residential School and pass it on to the next generation, not intending to do so. And that toxic shame is one that brought us to our knees. The other one is emotional starvation. This is a brief explanation. Personality change in a way that seems different for that person. Agitation or displaying anger, anxiety, or moodiness. Withdrawal or isolation from others. I've done that. Poor self-care. Maybe engaging in risky behavior. Alcohol and drugs. Hopelessness. I've gone through that. Or feeling of being overwhelmed and worthless to myself and to others. I've gone through all this. Later on, well, we missed our parents. And later on in life, when you're 7 or 8 years old, you're away from your parents 10 months a year, 11, right? And that's where that emotional starvation, where all your positive emotions you bury, then the negativity comes out. And emotional starvation would be, we're always looking for love, but we never found it. So we just gave up. That's where the negativity came out. And later on, we thought that the priest and brothers and the sisters, we transferred our whatever we had to them. So they were surrogate parents. But then they just looked at us as we were crazy. And you effing Indians, don't look at me like that. I'm not your parent, I'm above you, I'm above your parents. And another negativity comes up. Add that to your what's inside already. Angeline, she was a drug and alcohol counselor. I said, Clifford, I said, you're still wound up. You still have all that bad feelings there, even after 2008. I said, yeah, it's in there, but you're not showing. I said, I haven't heard the 2 words from you. In all the years we've been growing up. And what? The 2 words, I love you. I never said that. And I looked at her, said, Angie, you're right. Those are the 3 hardest words for me to say. And I told her, Angie, I love you. And we both, almost started crying. But to me, that was one obstacle I jumped over. And that's where it started. And I showed more respect to women, but then I showed respect to all people. Because I never got respect. I never self-respected myself. Look what I went through. Alcoholism. Residential school. It took me a long, long time to respect myself for what I am. You ask any survivor, they said that 3 words. They will say no. Like I said, emotional starvation. Because we never got no love or nothing from nobody. And that's where we buried all that positive emotions and negativity came out. And it took me a long, long time to realize, it took me 20 years to realize that I can make a better life. And get rid of all that negativity so that I can have all the positive emotions come out. And my sister Angie pulled out that one emotion, love. I'm still relearning stuff that I had omitted in my lifetime and when I was growing up after Lejac, going through all these obstacles that I had put up and overcoming that, then realizing after 2008, life is better. Now I'm going to make it better by understanding other people, understanding myself, understanding a relationship between two people needs love and trust. I never had that before. Tried everything yet I'm still learning. But it's just part, I call it my second childhood. Finally, I've reached a point in my life where I open a book and be blank. And all the past is way back here. And I've opened a new book, new chapter in my life. Now I will fill that book with positivity, respect, and love for other people. So that's truth. The truth is how it comes out, how you deal with it. But like you said, it has to come out. Once you reach the truth, then the next step is reconciling with oneself. Okay, I've done that. This happened to me. But why am I always thinking about that? To reconcile, open a new page. We have to educate the public about what actually happened in a residential school. Lejac School, for example, and across Canada, to fully understand residential schools and how it affected all of First Nations children from 1900s until 1996 when the last school was closed. I reconciled with myself in 2008 when I graduated. When I graduated, but prior to that, I had a closed mind. We learned more about ourselves and what we put ourselves through. The truth is, we were in a residential school, and what we suffered mentally, physically, we buried deep inside of our psyche. And reconciliation, to make things better between, for example, you and I, you educate yourself more about residential schools and how it affected me and other survivors, intergenerational people, to educate themselves first, learn more about it, and that way it'll eventually come out. Truth and reconciliation, to me, it meant the truth of what I had done, or what people have done to me while I was in school, then face the truth. And like I said, I opened that mental scar. And I thought to myself, geez, why not? So I just kept on going. Gradually everything came out. And there are a few hidden secrets way deep inside of me that won't come out. I tried. When I thought to myself, no, just leave it in there, it'll eventually come out. But you want to come out slowly. Because if all that hidden secrets come out, I might turn into a madman. That's what I'm afraid of. Because even though I don't show any temper, simply because only dogs get mad, only dogs fight. But to me, it'll come out so fast and furious that it'll overwhelm me, and I will do something that will probably regret the rest of my life. So that's why, it's there, but I know it's there. Come to that where it'll come out slowly. And I often thought if I hadn't gone to university, I would have blew right by. Simply because I opened my mind, my heart, opened everything. My ability to absorb increased tenfold. And later on, it's sort of, after respect, love, all this, I felt, like a better person. So in other words, I'm teaching, and I enjoy teaching. Teaching people what I had gone through, in residential school, and how I turned out after 25 years to what I am today.